cui se faire that I want.
Hello, everyone. How are you? This is Patricia of Divine Guidance. Uh, and guess what? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, isn't it? It's gorgeous. And I have such an amazing show. As always, we don't know where it's going to go, how it's going to go, but we know it's going to go. I had laptop crashes, tablet crashes, and I'm here. That's the way it goes. I have such an amazing, phenomenal, beautiful being with me today. Um, and we kind of rushed to get the show going today, last minute, because she's going to be tied up and busy and doing stuff as always. And this lady is like more than a soul sister. She's like a soul spark that we share, and it's Linda Good McGill McGillis. Um, and I don't know names. Everyone who knows me, I know souls, I know colors, I know what's around people. So I apologize for the stutter in the name, but here she is. Come on, beautiful lady. Let's start
Grand
this
Rising.
show
Hello,
together.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much, beautiful, for having me on. It's truly an humbling honor.
Well, it's the only way to get to talk to you, maybe.
It's tough.
We've been so busy.
It's tough.
We've been so busy.
So busy.
Yes,
Getting busier as
you
time
have been
seems to
doing.
speed up. Time seems to slow down, and so
When it speeds up, doesn't it, darling?
and right now we're in a space of that speed up. We had a beautiful alignment on the first and opened
Mhm.
an etheric gateway, what is known as the Western Gateway, which is a silver gateway, which not often do we get that alignment and the opportunity to go through that silver and golden gateway that will put us into a collective leap into a higher dimensional frequency. And so, whenever we leap like that as a collective whole, then chaos comes to the surface, to deal with,
Yeah,
and the
shift
rockiness in order.
happens. Shift
And
happens.
and so, it takes 72 hours in the linear world to really have it completely go through the cellular molecular structure. And so, today is the 7th, so we're only 3 days out of that full integration. And for every 3 days or 72 hours in the linear world, 10,000 light years passes by for the soul. And so
Mhm.
as we merge the descension of the waters above into the bodies, and therefore the bodies can ascend to harmonize with it, you know we got a lot of dancing going on right now.
Yeah, you've got a lot of very, very happy people and a very, very sad and angry people. So you got both spectrums happening right now as
Well,
we try to bring it into balance.
you're seeing what's occurring right
We're
now.
aware critic field upped it up and I'm with
I'll chat since she's frozen a little bit.
you.
We have a lot of
Me freezing. And here together. And it's going to be okay because people are going to feel the frequency and feel the love and feel the light and feel the connection. Two sparks that know each other but never get to communicate. And this is an amazing time for you and I. And it's an amazing time for everybody. Everybody, whether they're consciously aware of it or not, are a very part of the recipe of newer. Whether they're conscious of it or not, I thank them, I honor them, and I love them.
It's a beautiful, magical, miraculous time right now. What's challenging for us all is the separating of two broadband frequencies. And so to the human, what they say is their families and their own individual lives and stuff like that. The individuality is what is shifting. And so if the bodies cannot, and you're really going to see this going forward, especially up through the end of the year, the bodies that cannot sustain the higher broadband frequencies, consciousness is going to diminish in. And that's what we're seeing in many ways. It's what I refer to as short circuiting, because you have an electromagnetic field. And I've been saying for years since I walked into this body that you have to clear the memory records, the Akashic records, and this planet ascended into a higher broadband frequency in December of 2012. So for 10 years, almost 10 years now, we've been walking through the Akashic records. And so what's occurring right now so prevalently is those that have trapped themselves here in their memories. Consciousness is diminishing more and more because they are smothering the God spark of light within them, because they're here and they're not here, which is two different consciousness grids.
Yes.
So go ahead.
I just want to add there that, you know, I think, and you know me, you and I, we don't each other. The Akashic records are so gone, and they have been gone for so long. It's a higher record of knowing. And so it's you and me talking here. So we're going to say that it's not the Akashic records that have been going through right now. It is the pure memory of Mother Earth in her ascended being. And she decided to bring all that knowledge and memory into form, which has never been done. And so her DNA from the soul level and light body level is now coming into form. She's inviting everyone else to the party, and people are able to or not. Simple. But it's above and beyond the Akashic records, isn't it, Linda?
Well, it is for those truly connected here and ascending, but for those that have not matched, that have not walked through their memory records, their Akashic records, they're stuck in those timestamp memories. Those that are here. It's for those that are ascending, and that's what I mean. We have a separation going on right now, as much as it is a unification. And this is where you're going to see, to the human individual world, when we're whole, right, before we come into form, we don't need surrogate families. We don't need people to play roles for us to help us see the reflection. And so what's occurring right now, for those that truly are connected here to the cosmic mother blueprint, to nature, they've allowed their bodies to become the land, and the land becomes them. So they're back to their full consciousness, and they are going completely out of their records to not be reborn, not to be born again, but to be born anew, which means the innocence of a child that has no memory records. So it's all about closing the book of life and returning yourself to the tree of life. And in that, there's a lot of people that are still stuck in their records. And because out here will always be the past, because everything starts here in energy before it ever even becomes a thought. And so, you know, it really is a balancing and harmonizing act of returning ourselves from an individual to being an embodiment of the Christ consciousness, where you become a unique expression of the living word of God, you know, and everybody has their own interpretations because of their beliefs and the filters. And so, you know, it's a cha-cha and a tango all mixed together right now.
Oh, am I covering up the microphone? Boy, I love Jacob. He's so great. Okay. It's hard to hold this phone, you know, but I'll do the best I can. All right. So I wanted to just go back to something. Yes, it's a really difficult time, especially for those who haven't accepted their sentient being, which is divine ascension, right? Connecting all of your sentient being with all of sentient being universally, universes. So the other thing is, for viewers, I don't know what those two are talking about. I want you on the show because I want to talk the way we are, not to impress anybody and not to override anybody, but to let people know there's also great give me's being given to all mankind, all animals, all trees by the divine beings, whether you call them God, creator, whatever. Okay. So that where you came from, that spark, where you came from, that being that is part of myself, my dog, my trees, my plants, my food, that being is given a lot of give me's right now, which means that there are so many beings that are working with the oneness to bring forward this with ease, because not only are you going in out of individuality, you're also going out of duality, and
And you're
that's a
also
really
going out of
difficult.
oneness.
You
And we're
bet.
also,
You're going out of oneness and becoming oneness, connected to oneness.
you're leaving oneness for
Yes.
for wholeness. But
Wholeness. I love that.
what oneness means, because wholeness is like 8 octaves above oneness.
I got
What
it.
oneness means is you have unified your right and left brain, and you have unified, you have let go of your Akashic records, and you have unified to the higher intelligence. Now that's oneness is only on an individual level. Once you
exactly right
to oneness, you then start the higher stair steps into wholeness. Now, this is where a lot of people get sidetracked by their minds. It's my journey. It's my personal truth. It's my. Stand in your truth, blah, blah, blah. And the fact that you have to stand in your truth means you are not fully connected to here, because truth and untruth is a duality polarity. And when you rise above oneness and start the wholeness journey, you leave behind all polarity, including truth and untruth.
Yes.
And so that's where a lot right now, are getting stuck, because no, it's my truth and I have to honor this. You go from it being all about you to creators' information, and creators' information is not separated. And so right now, and this is where a huge separation is occurring right now, because there's those that have awareness, but what is occurring is they're rejecting the higher stair steps of their higher self because they want to stand in their personal truths. And so right now, as a collective of the 144 key geometry holders, we are trying to harmonize and balance all of the misintention. And what I mean by misintention is it's a 33-step stair step to the heavenly frequencies, but there is 12 steps in each one of those. And so what we're walking through is, say you're at this frequency now. Well, every one of these stair steps below, each one of you had intentions that you met. And then when you get to the next stair step, these intentions no longer matter, because now and so right now, as a collective, we are clearing all of the misintentions. They were accurate for that broadband stair step frequency. Truth is as fluid as a frequency one maintains. And so there's a lot of misintentions that we set out that were beneficial on the lower stair steps that are not in alignment with the stair steps between oneness and wholeness. And so, that is the battle that has now come to the surface that has always been underneath. And you're seeing a lot of people getting trapped in that, because the hardest
Uh,
stair step in this journey of ascension is letting go of the individual for uniqueness and diversity. And again, everything is built on the filters of individual definition. And so, you know, we're playing with a lot of definitions that have been subtle and subconscious that have now hit the surface where the light is, to where we can balance and bring equanimity to it. And this is where we just need to hold space. But what holding space for me means is different than what it means for many people. And right now it's all about the human civilization has been in an inverted matrix thought mentality that was not accountable and responsible for their choices. And so right now, what we're walking through, what we're walking through is now choices are being made as an initiation, if you will.
Initiation of the soul.
Right. And so now everything is about, okay, you've made this choice, or in the human world, you've made your bed, you lie in it now. And a lot are finding that they don't want to accept accountability for that, because that's the last part of the veil that we really have to pierce through. And, you know, it's not comfortable, beautiful.
No,
it's just not.
Unfortunately, you know, you and I have both seen in the last 10 to 15 years so many battles in spiritual forms and spiritual platforms and spiritual groups and organizations. And the battles always come back to, well, we've got free will. And that's my truth. Like you were saying, no, darling, no, that is not
free
be
will,
all end all.
Free will is the illusion. And why
free will.
And why do I say that? Because that's the mask in disguise of the individuality. Because it doesn't matter if you call it divine will, if you just call it will, or if you call it free will. Regardless, it's the will of the soul, whether the mind does the will of the soul or not. So free will is actually divine will. And again,
free will.
Let's take
you
it back
got
to
it. Yes, I love it.
of choice.
Yes,
and
there's accountability for free will, though. It's not a free pass.
No,
there's accountability for it, because
you're representing the God spark within you, whether you call it free will or whether you call it divine will. It's the same will.
Exactly right. Like I always tell everybody, like I'm married and my partner is very, very engaged with Creator. However, I don't do anything that is given even by my partner unless I check it with my gaps, right? Because I can't go to Creator and say, well, Patrick told me and Patrick is my... No, who's Patrick? Patrick is your role playing right now on this
Patrick
planet.
is just because Patrick is a masculine.
Yes.
He's a reflective mirror of, and it's out here, a reflective mirror of your masculine energy within you. And the masculine energy, the masculine essence is your control, your manipulation, your action, your behavior, your power, your free will choice. And so, you know, that's why I try to guide people and teach people how to read this out here, because this is the past. This is the energy in here that has now manifested.
Yes.
You know, and you know, it's really important for people to understand that the soul does not see out here.
No, the soul doesn't. However, I think it was about 18 months ago, Linda, when we got the huge message here on our property that the soul now has say. So the soul now has been able to come in through some itty bitty personalities that were blocking, not because they wanted to, possibly, and because they wanted to, possibly. The soul now has say. That doesn't mean the soul has all the say, but there's been a veil between the personality, the separation of soul that's been cleared. And so all souls now have more say in the journey.
Well, the soul has always had say.
Well, it's always had say, but not in the
It's
separation of
always
physical
just
form.
been, it's all absolutely it has.
Ignored. Yeah.
It's just been, yeah, that's the key word. The soul has always had say. But
Exactly
it's
right.
subtle.
Yeah.
And mind railroads them from the guidance of the soul because of misinterpretation,
Mhm.
because of the limited definitions and the beliefs. And so you're right. The soul now is saying, the one world soul that is not fractuated into
Mhm.
individualization is saying, no, my will is going to be done. And you're either going to align to it, or you are going to use your choice to suffer and make this more challenging. You know, it's beautiful. No matter, the mind is not beautiful. That is trapped in a time and space continuum because it's just a memory. But
yet the mind is the spiritual mind connected to the physical brain is an amazing intelligence. It is phenomenal, right? And the what people call downloads. I mean, some like yourself and I, it's like we can tap in. You can hear a song and tap into, what angel is behind that frequency. It's hard to explain, but I know you get it.
I do. Where you say tapping in.
Yeah. So many years, everyone was told, shut your brain down. And for many years, I said, stop it. You're creating a war between your physical form and your soul. No, invite the soul in, invite that spiritual mind to work with that beautiful physical brain.
Right. And the mind and the brain are two different things. The mind operates on memory. And the brain part that people have been disconnected from. And where you say tap into it, eventually for those that are rising to the broadband frequency, the counterclockwise rotation, which Earth moved into around central sun in 2012, no longer are they going to have to tap into or tune into because they're embodying it. And therefore it's instant. And
it kind of has a knee-jerk reaction with some of them. I've seen some very highly in tune gifted beings go right, and I was like, whoa, I really thought they had it, but now they do. Great. You know what I mean? It's just that
and where we thought they had it, it's because what occurs is so many on social media attached to others' information.
Exactly.
They're channeling, they're this, they're that, and they put a literal meaning to it, which limits the information. And so a lot of people get it mentally, but they have bypassed the suppressed density, emotional density within them. And that is what holds the body down into a lower frequency. And as individuals, some of us can be up here, some of us here, some of us here. But as a collective whole out here, as far as experience goes, we will always experience the lowest density frequency of the collective whole. And that's where people struggle with, because we're one soul, and that soul has to honor the free will frequency as a whole. And so right now we're bouncing because, again, we as a collective whole. And so somebody up here feels right now, there's a lot of them that have come to me, and it's like, why do I feel stuck? Why do I feels like I'm just blah? And it's because you're at this frequency and the collective is at this one. And so the 100 monkey syndrome that you hear people now we're walking through the dark night of the world soul, and people are still individualizing it, making it personal. Where this
the world soul, let's just do the 3D soul, because Earth herself has done some amazing stuff in the physical form of this planet. So I kind of tend to separate that in the last 3 years for sure, because all of these high frequencies and high vibing things that have been happening is Earth has received her communion now with her galactic family. right? She is no longer separated from all of that on the level she was. She's bringing all of that information that some information she's never known her liberty before. So she's bringing all of that into this form. And once again, we can remain here because she's a living library of divine love, right? However, there are new hoops to pass. There are new universal laws and information to attune to. It's not a free pass like it was before.
No, but where you say 3D,
Yes. Okay.
that is the illusion. Because
Yes.
people have, again, it's translation.
Yes.
And Earth has 5 existential disk planes.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you're on the second existential disk plane with a 3D thought mentality. So it's what is occurring is all 5 of those existential disk planes are being merged into one. So the human, what so many refer to as 3D enslavement, consists of the second, third, and fourth existential disk planes. What's the first dimension is the cosmic heart, the foundation, the etheric foundational grid. That is what everyone has been disconnected from. And until you connect the second, third, and fourth, which represents the body, the astral plane, the 3D thought mentality, and the actual physical existence on the second existential disk plane. That's where 2D, 3D, 4D come in. Again, misinterpretation. So
labels.
It's not that we are leaving 3D. It's not that we're moving into 5th dimension. That is inaccuracy of interpretation. What we're doing is you're connecting back to the 1st dimension, which automatically takes you up to the 5th existential disk plane, which is etheric.
Yes.
And so we're bringing all existential disk planes together, which will expand the perceptional experience out here. So where people say we're moving into the 5th dimension, that is not accurate. And because the soul has all 12 density dimensions as one, there's no such thing as 5th dimension, 6th dimension, 7th dimension. Those are simultaneous existential lives being lived, because you go from a flower of life that has 12 petals, which is the enslaved human. And that's why they separate dimensions. But it's existential disk planes that we are actually doing the work at to merge them, not moving from a 3D mentality to a 5D mentality.
No.
For those truly ascending, they're moving themselves completely out of 12 density dimensions of being separated and having it as one existential disk plane. So there's a lot of misinformation out there about 3D and 5D, because
when I first heard it, Linda, you know me, I said, what are you guys talking about, my bra size? Like, really, we're multi-dimensional beings, right? Always simple. And the counterclockwise of the earth right now should be a huge sign to anybody who knows anything about spirituality, that the earth's going clockwise. That means we're going back to the future.
And the future is just the past, the beginning.
That's right. So we're going backwards to be where we need to be, where we were intended to be before it was interfered with. Like, simple.
And the only interference that occurred had nothing to do with rogue aliens. Nothing. It had everything to do with free will choice that made choice that lowered the density.
Yes.
And it's about existential disk planes. It's not about dimensions.
No, it's not. It's not about any dimensions, because dimensions are available. I mean, if dimensions, multidimensionalism wasn't available, where would this information be able to come from?
Yeah. Exactly.
over, eons? Where would it be able to, where would Tesla have gotten the information? Where would, let's go through the lines. Where would Edgar Casey gotten the information? These dimensional, these words dimension are just labels to divide and
Well,
separate the levels of consciousness in
well,
my mind.
you look at Edward Casey or Dolores Cannon or any of these people that have been chatting, for 30, 40, 50 years out here. You have to also understand that their decoding and interpretation was based on 40 years ago.
Yep.
Was not the frequency we're at now. So even
not at
that
all.
information has been filtered and there is distortion in it. And so that's why people need to keep it as information and not put their own interpretation, their own personal understanding or anything like that, because people like to blame religion. And
people like to blame
Bible,
everything.
I know, lack of accountability and how religion has been used to enslave people. No, it hasn't. There's no difference from, let's take the Bible and people are evil, blah, 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 blah. It's no different than a channeler because they're interpreting information. And if they're not fully here at the frequency of what Earth is vibrating at, then they're putting their spin on it. They're putting their definition to it. And so it's not that anyone has ever enslaved us. It's only because we have put interpretation of definition to it. And therefore, what I say right now, anyone listening, same with you, everyone is going to interpret it and hear something different, but they're not going to hear what we're saying.
They're not. Some of them aren't, and some of them are. And that's great because that's how, there are beings like, my grandson is the biggest soul trigger I've ever known. He's 8. You know what I mean? Like the soul triggers are coming all around us in everything. And they always have for me. And I'm sure for you as well. But what I'm saying is for the I don't like masses. I don't like collect. Sometimes it's hard to talk English. But anyways, let's just go with the word masses.
Because English is limited.
Yes, it is. So let's just go with masses. Okay. So the triggers of soul, spirit, denying that separation any longer are everywhere. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And I'm seeing the most people that are never been connected to anything outside of, and they're just waking, not waking, they're being lit up. I like to say they're being lit up, right? Their light is, their holy light is. I know we've gone past the half-hour mark or the half mark, but anyways, let's take a quick break here in a minute or so, and we'll come back, and I'd like for you to share a little bit about your community, because I believe everyone is trying to do the community, and many are not being successful because, and I'll leave that right there, Jacob, until after we come back from our break. All right, welcome back to Divine Guidance with Patricia. Where'd Linda go? Can't see her. Is she there?
I'm here.
Oh, there she is. There you go. All right, so what I was leading into before the commercial, and you and I would like to talk to you for like 70,000 years, is a lot of people are doing the community thing. I want to set up a community. I want to be self-sustainable, and it's not working. Why? And I'll hand it over to you because you're very successful with it.
It's not working because they're trying to bring their individual lives into a brand new beginning of a gathering, and you cannot do that.
Okay.
And we've done it here. We all, a bunch of us, put our monies together. We have bought a ranch, 153-acre ranch that has no mortgage or anything, and we have probably about 6 or 7 that are still traveling back and forth between their countries. And then we have about 10, 12 of us here that are permanent now. And the inhabitants of this civilization have a hard time communicating because they've shut down their throat chakra, which has 44 energy center points. And so even for all of us here, it has been tough because they don't want to speak up and say, well, I prefer this. And what happens is you have to put my ideas into the pot. You know, you have to put your ideas into the pot. And an idea is identification or definition or a label put to energy that takes action. That's all an idea is.
That's it. Yes.
And people are afraid to speak. And so they come with expectations, and expectations will always disappoint you. But the biggest thing that railroads it, that people don't take into consideration, when you make a leap, everything, because it's such a major change to the psyche, when you leap, like every single one of these, we got people from Australia, from Canada, from Serbia, from Switzerland, from Germany already here. And when they make a leap to something brand new, anything and everything of your fears, of the fear of change, the fear of loss, all of those things are going to present themselves. And that is what people have to walk through because it's something brand new. But they're pulled, they take you with you wherever you go.
You bet.
And so instead of letting it be new and walking through all of the old density that now comes up because it doesn't match that leap, people fall back into that trap, and therefore they leap. And then all of their fears, oh God, what if I get there and it doesn't work out and I don't like somebody and blah, 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 blah. All of that now surfaces for them to walk through. Fear, false evidence, appearing real of your mind.
Appearing real.
And they fall back into it instead of walking through it and dissolving it, neutralizing, deleting the fear. They fall into it, and therefore they loop back, and they end up leaving the community, going back to my individual life, my individual interpretation. And that's why communities don't work out, because they don't walk through their individual fear. They get trapped in it. And in that, they shut themselves down again, going right back to that pattern of not speaking. Well, you cannot have 10 people together, 100 people, whatever it is, and only have a fourth or a third or a 16th of them putting their ideas in.
That's right.
The only way you can make a community work is everybody puts their ideas, their expectations on the table and weave a little bit or a lot, whatever it is, together to make a brand new experience. And that's where we leap. And not only that, the human enslavement, you don't like something someone does or something says, instead of discussing it, communicating and walking through it,
stopping the deception. Yes.
They pull themselves away. And they separate themselves instead of walking through it. Again, falling back into that blame and shame thought process, instead of allowing them hand in hand to help each other through it. And so, there's
got to be communication in community, unity. And also, it's like the coat of many colors, right? Every little strand has to come from everybody. Or you've got leaders, followers, you've got ego, passive, all those. Community for me is letting go of the dualities and bringing forward the beauty of every being. Because what do you learn? What do you learn if you don't listen and share with each other? What do you remember?
That's the thing. You just said the key word, share. Yeshua, or what people call Jesus or whatever, His purpose wasn't to be worshipped and made an authoritarian. It wasn't for him to think for everyone. What it was and what he represented was a gathering to share knowledge, not for people to listen to his every word. And that's what I run into here. Because because I started putting this together and everybody, people look at me as an authoritarian. And as long as they do that, there is no equanimity. They cannot be brother and sister. They cannot be just as important. And so that's what we walk through every time another person comes to the ranch to stay. A magnetic sphere now has joined in with a bunch of other magnetic sphere, which makes one magnetic sphere. And they don't understand that it all,
they're putting the illness of their experience.
You're covering your
me.
mic, honey.
Oh, am I? They're putting the illness, the failure or past of their experience on somebody else. That's all they're doing. Take a chance. So be a risk taker.
What happens is well, where do I put this? Well, think for yourself. Where normally do you put a bottle of ketchup? Either in the fridge or in the pantry.
Exactly.
So as we walk through these veils, and me, I'm very straightforward. They'll ask me a question that they can answer themselves, like, where do I put the ketchup? It's like, where do you put the ketchup?
Exactly. Yes.
I don't want to think for them.
No, and you want them to be empowered.
I want them to share knowledge. I want us to sit in a group and say, okay, this is what we're facing. This is what we talked about doing. Okay, what are your ideas? But what happens, because the human unworthiness will sit there and say, well, she knows more than I do. So I'm just, maybe my idea just isn't important, so I'm not going to share it. Not understanding that each of us is a fractal of a whole, which means you have a piece of wisdom buried in you that the whole collective needs, but you're not going to get to that wisdom until you remove your belief systems, until you remove your filters, because you're never going to be comfortable to speak.
And that's why it's really important. And some of the work that I do, or I don't say I do the work, I live it. If I can't live this way, I don't want to be here. I just don't. I don't want to be a person who doesn't share. I don't want to be a person. I don't want what I'm not, period.
Well,
whatever that is.
People are afraid to speak because they don't want to be wrong.
Yeah. So empowering people to empower people, that's what I'm going to be into, up to hipsters, belly button deep, for the rest of my physical days and beyond. It's empowering people to empower people, and there are no rights or wrongs. There is no mistakes. If you did that, there's a reason. Go deeper, take a look at it. Oh, wow, look at that. What did you accomplish? You always accomplish something as long as you're taking action. If you're not taking action, you're not accomplishing nothing.
You're not using your will, therefore you're just generating distorted energy, because you have an idea, you've been given guidance, or the best one, I'm one that lives, spirit tells me, and it's usually late at night, Linda, go to Mexico. I don't let my human world dictate whether or not I follow spirit. Spirit is only in the now. So at 11 o'clock, if spirit tells me to go to Mexico, okay, Mariana, let's pack the car. We got to go to Mexico. Well, well, maybe we don't have the money to go to Mexico. And this happened like 3.5, 4 years ago. I was guided to go, and Mariana's like, how are we going to do that? We only have $300. I said, it's not my problem to worry about. Spirit asked me to go. So I looked at her and I said, okay, universe, spirit has guided us to go to the Sun and Moon pyramids in South Mexico. Provide the means, and I'm on the road. Less than 15 minutes, we got an anonymous donation of $1,000. So, okay, we're on the road. But people look at it as, oh, well, you donated this to me, a person. No, if you gave me 5 cents, it is creator working through you to provide.
Exactly right.
The spirit will always provide. But people get caught up. Well, I got work, I got children, I got this. I can do it next week. Spirit only works in the now.
That's it. I love that because I am one of divine action. People don't get it. I don't care. I'm doing it. That's it. I'm doing it. And the things that I've done, I would not have been able to do in a million years if I hadn't done what my being, my whole being, not just Patricia, because I do a lot of things Patricia don't like. That's it.
No,
we're
that
down to
never
our
happened.
last minute. I know. Time has gone by. I'd like to invite you back to the show when you have time. And I'd also like for you to give out your email or your website or whatever you need to do for your courses and your community and whatever you got going. And I'm going to say, I beyond love you and appreciate you, darling.
I love it. You beyond and appreciate you, beautiful, truly. Profundity yours at Yahoo or profundity yours at Gmail. Profundity means deep personal insight. And either one of those people can reach us at. We are doing, we did put out that we will up to 200 people, and they have to register, and it will be on our website, profundityyours.com shortly, where they can register. But we have offered people to come to the ranch for Thanksgiving and for a conscious gratitude Thanksgiving. And we have people already coming from all over the world.
And your ranch is in Texas, right?
Our ranch is in Marietta, Texas. Yes.
Just to give people an idea, where in the world is Linda?
Yeah, in Northeast Texas. Our ranch is in just outside of Marietta, Texas, and which is about an hour from Texarkana.
Okay. There's a song that says that. There is. Can you give our audience one last ta-da? Oh, we've got 3 minutes. Oh, I saw. Okay, we got 3 minutes. You can keep going.
I will say this, because of a Mars transit we're going through, from August 10th to the middle of October has been a buildup of a karmic return energy of the left of the density within our hearts. And then it will start to surface and play out from when Mars gets really close to Earth, right around the 16th of October through mid-January. We're going to start, again, we're walking through the dark night of the world soul. And so the best encouragement I can give right now is you're about to meet your maker, your karmic return as a collective whole. And we're going to start going through a lot of chaos. Stay grounded and breathe. Your breath is the most important thing right now, because it will calm you. It will calm you. And, you know, right around December 10th, Gaia told me we are going to be between 3/4 and 1/2 degree of the magnetic reversal, which means there's going to be a lot of natural calamities. You know, the more you emotionally react to what goes on out here, it's going to take you more and more away from your soul. So really breathe and really get in touch with your breath and get control of your mind as we go through this, because, you know, people give up right before their dreams, whatever they want. And right now, a lot of people are giving up. And that's where we need to say, hey, here's my hand. Now, a lot of them aren't going to take it.
No.
But it's for us to help them walk through it, because
love them through it.
We are the light beings, and light will always attract what people call darkness or density. And it's for us to take their hand and just help walk through the density with them, because our light will help balance and unharmonize it. And that's really key going forward for us all.
Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate you jumping on here quick before you head on to some scheduled stuff. And once again, I invite you back. And I so appreciate you and your community. I can feel the vibration. It's an amazing, frequency coming from there.
Come visit, and if you can.
I'll be there. You come up here too. Oh, I'd love to, but I know. Well, no, I'd love to. How's that?
Well, if you want, if you're guided, You'll
Yes.
lead the way, and we would love to have you.
I would
Jacob,
love to see that. Okay, Jacob. Well, I guess we're running out of time. Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Jacob. You're an awesome producer. Thank you, TTR, for all you do for everybody. And I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for all you do, beautiful, and for having us on.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to Divine Guidance with Patricia on transformationtalkradio.com with me, Patricia McNair. Tune in next time to explore more challenges that can help you achieve your whole being. I know we are all capable of truly being whole, and with a little empowerment, anyone can access an entire universe of knowing that is just waiting to be explored. For more information about me and my services, visit divineguidance.earth. That's divineguidance.earth. See you next time, where together we focus on SOULutions for the whole being.